Hi and welcome back to another Make It Meaningful. I'm Garden Girl Jen Gallacher. So all this month we're talking about heritage, and it has been so fun to dig through my photos and look through and see which stories I have yet to tell, or if photos I've used before in my scrapbooks are triggering new stories, and they absolutely are. And that is the case with this week. So this week we've been concentrating, as well as heritage, on moments. And I came across a photo of my son in 2002, my very oldest son, at his birthday party. And if you notice in the picture, there is a big pinkish red smudge right here. And that is a big kiss from his Aunt Marcy, who is known for leaving kisses on her nieces and nephews. And I left it in the picture. I thought about cropping it out, and I thought it's really cute and there's a story behind it, and so I left it in. So the layout that I'm working on today incorporates that photo back from 2002, but I used updated modern items because 2002 really isn't that long ago. It's longer than yesterday, but it's still modern and fresh. Plus it's birthday, and birthday I think stretches across all walks of life, whether it was in 1912 or whether it was 2012 or 2014. So you can use modern items for things like birthdays, and a birthday is a great way to capture a moment. So today's layout is going to focus on this birthday photo. So let's go ahead and get started. So for the layout, we're going to start out with a sheet of craft cardstock that was originally 8.5 by 11. And then we're going to use this pattern paper that has a subtle chevron to it. And it does have blocks on the back. It was actually a baby collection from Studio Calico, but I'm going to use the chevron side. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do some stamping. And I'm going to be using this cute little Hero Art stamp and some white pigment ink from Hero Arts. It is Unicorn, and it is a great white pigment ink. You can see I've already used it before. Just ink up your stamp, and it shows very vibrantly onto craft cardstock. And we're going to stamp this right along the bottom, and we're going to create a border. So press firmly and lift off. And I'm not even worried that it's messy, I just want the concept of it. So ink it again and do it a second time. Now pigment ink needs time to dry, so once you're done stamping, be sure to move this out of the way, as it will need time to dry. You don't want to smudge it with your fingers. With pigment ink, if you don't like how opaque, how dark the ink is, you can go back and stamp it again. This will work especially well with a clear stamp or a Stamp-A-Majig that allows you placement on the stamp. So again, a kind of messy cityscape. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this, and we'll place it onto the layout. And I've pre-trimmed one already for us. And you can see that when it dries, it's a little bit lighter. It looks great on camera. Up front, to me, it's a little bit lighter. So you can see a little bit vibrant, a little bit lighter. So it will dry more like this. To the bottom of this particular border, I'm going to add a scallop strip cut from a dark teal cardstock. And again, the strip of the border strip I've cut is dry. You do not want to do this when it's still wet and drying, or you can smudge that pretty ink. Mount that on top, and then we'll mount the entire border at the bottom of the layout. I'm going to off-center this layout just a little bit for some interest. So in the bottom right corner, make sure that it is straight. Then above that, I am going to add a sheet of definition paper, and it has a cream background because I wanted to match the light yellow that is found in the chevron. This is an old Simple Stories pattern paper. Any kind of yellowed pattern will do. And I'm going to leave a gap between the two pattern papers. I like the peekaboo effect of that chevron showing through. On top of that, I'm going to add some birthday pattern paper. And on one side it has Scrabble tiles in a wooden color, and on the other side is this great kind of tone-on-tone green dot. So I'm going to add borders to this and bring that scallop up to the top as well. And these are cut from a creamy yellow cardstock. We'll just trim off the excess. And we'll do this next side. Try and make sure they're about the same kind of scallop design on both sides. So I eyeballed that a little bit. We have a small one and then we have a large one. And then we can attach that to the layout. I'll attach this here. We're kind of creating a little grid type layout, and that's one of my favorite designs to use, and I use it quite frequently. The photo for this page is one of my oldest son's Joey's, and I don't have a date on the back. That would have been important to have. I can estimate, but that will go at the top here. And I'm going to leave a little gap for the journaling later. Behind that particular photo, I'm going to take a circle, and it's a pinked circle, and I cut this with a manual die cut. You can cut this with a silhouette machine, or you can use a paper punch if you have one. One thing that I like to do when I'm creating punch outs like this is, for instance, this is a basil cardstock, and I like the way that the pattern runs up and down. So if you're kind of OCD like me, you can think about things like that, like where do I want the pattern to run. To the bottom border, I'm going to add some Elle Studio tabs. One says Moments here. And to stretch them a little bit, I'm going to tear them off so that I can use the other half later, but you could fold them over, especially for a mini album. That would look awesome. And we'll attach this one on top. And then for this one can be folded over so it's upside down. However, I don't want it to be upside down. So again, I'm going to rip it, trim off those little tabbed edges, and then we'll adhere it behind the Moments Here tab. Move it down a little bit so I can get a great overlapping tab. Above that, I'm going to take one of the exclusive wood veneer shapes from 2Ps, and I'm going to adhere that just with my dot runner. It is thin enough that the dot runner will work. If you're concerned about it staying in place, you can add a stronger adhesive such as double-sided sticky tape. For the title, I'm going to do a combo title. I'm going to take a sticker from the same collection as this green dot, and it says Day, and it actually said Your Day, but I'm only going to use the day part of the word. And we'll mount this here at the bottom. And it is stitched together. The sticker actually has, running through the center of it, a stitching. And we are not going to cut that apart. We'll just leave it the way it is. And I wanted to spell out birthday instead of your day. So what I did is I took a font, a true type font, and I cut it with my silhouette machine so that I could spell out the word birthday. And to adhere that, I'm going to take just a glue pen. This is how I usually do it. Turn over a sheet of cardstock where we did the stamping, and we'll paint that adhesive right onto the word. We're going to tuck it in right behind the day stickers, and the B is in 2 parts. So we'll start with the 1. Make sure you get enough adhesive on the back of that. And then you can come back and add that second piece, putting it back together. If you have any questions about how the piece looks, refer back to the cut. Again, since this is a birthday page, I'm using some birthday embellishments. This is from crepe paper, as is the dot and all the other items. And I'm going to layer this sticker onto the ampersand, and I'm going to trim off the bottoms of those balloons just a little bit. And then to dress up the sticker, I've taken a button and I've put twine on it, and we will go ahead and add that on top of the balloon. We'll straighten out that, and you can trim off the extra pieces of twine. Just gives it a little bit more dimension. Then to the side up here, to fill this space, again, I'm going to come back to these Elle Studio tabs. And again, you can use them folded as they are die cut, or you can trim them down to make them stretch a little bit more. And I'm going to use 2 different ones today. I'm going to use this blue one and a yellow one. And the yellow one says memos. We'll slightly overlap the two and extend one off the edge, so I'm layering them a little bit. As I'm looking at this bottom edge, I want to add a little bit of color down here. So I'm going to gently pull these up, turn them over so they don't touch anything, and leave them there. And then I'm going to take some strips of yellow cardstock, and we'll go ahead and add these again to the layout. Make sure you add the adhesive on a scratch piece of paper, because sometimes the adhesive goes off the edges and you don't want that getting on your project. So we'll do a yellow cardstock border. And then for the thinner one, we can again use the dot runner, or you can use the glue pen that I showed you earlier. That just brightens that bottom edge a little bit. There's a lot of darker colors going on there. And then we can pick that sticker back up and place it right back down where we want it. And that's a lot more dynamic. You can see now that it's just a lot more interesting. To the top, we're going to add our journaling. So the journaling, again, is in yellow so that we can bring out some of that color up at the top. And we're going to go ahead and overlap our photo, and I'm okay with that. And then behind the photo, we're going to add a hat sticker. And we're sort of going to tuck it behind, as it is dimensional, but not so much that it sticks up. So if you need to, put it on top as well. And then this particular flag is from the Pure collection, but I really liked it. So we're going to combine the two elements. Then to dress it up, the first thing I want to do is I want to dot the eye. And I did cut the dotted part of the eye, but I neglected to add it, so we'll add that now. And then enamel dots are a great way to kind of dress up the space a little bit. And you can do multicolored dots for a birthday. That's always really cute. And then add some at the top as well. So there's a birthday layout, kind of a heritage theme that captures a moment, a special moment in my son's life back from 2002. Thank you for joining me for today's Make It Meaningful video. Be sure to subscribe to the Two Piece YouTube channel so you don't miss out on this weekly Friday video series.